After 4 years of inaccurate woodworking, I finally learnt what the problem was. It was me. I can blame my tools all I want, but it's never going to take away from the fact that it's me that's inaccurate. And I'm going to tell you about this one skill that's helped me change from super inaccurate to absolutely bob on every time. So the biggest change I've made is introducing things like these in there. No, it's not the alphabet, it's a template. And by using these templates, I can guarantee accuracy each and every time, repeatable as many times as you like. So let me show you 2 ways that I make my templates. One of them is free, and thus it's available to most basic of beginner woodworkers. The other one's slightly more advanced and does come in handy for some more complex shape, but you could still do this the other way. So let's dive straight in. The first thing I like to do is mark on where my templates are going to go. As you just saw, I've made this template with the laser because it's got some curves, but you could quite easily do this with a circular saw and a bit of sandpaper. I like to trace the full shape out, so when I've used double-sided tape, I can easily line it back up again. I love this stuff. I get why people use the painter's tape and CA glue, but why bother when there's double-sided tape? So the first thing we're going to do now that our template's down is hog out as much of the material as we can. For this, I like to use these hole cutters. They do butcher it a little bit, so you've got to be careful. For me, the best way to start is with a pilot hole. This will allow the larger bit to go in and be guided exactly where you want it to be. I can guarantee you the last thing you want is this thing getting loose because it will rip shreds to your project. Just like the circle cutter, I'm going to get my saw as close as I dare to this cut line. I don't want to stray over it, but I want as little material as possible left for the router to take out. That gets me the smoothest and cleanest cut. Now once we're satisfied that we've hogged out all the material that we need and we're as close to that line as we dare get, we're going to bring out what I consider the hero of this technique, and it's a palm router. This thing is great for accuracy when paired with something like this spiral upcut bit. These bits work by running this bearing on the top against the template, allowing the cutting line to follow the exact path of that template and make the cut to the exact dimensions that you need. So I'm now going to set the router up. It's really important that you put your blade into the correct depth and tighten it as tight as you can get it. There's nothing worse than a bit coming loose mid-cut and ruining the project. After that, it's a simple case of having a practice, making sure that we've got the depth right before moving on to the cut itself. Following the cut, the template comes off nice and easy. And this is why I love the double-sided tape. As you can see, this cut's come out so clean, it's only going to need a very light sanding with 120 grit to bring it up to spec. Moving on now, I need to put in some finger grooves so this thing can be lifted up off the sink that it's going to sit on top of. For this, I'm going to change from a spiral bit to a flat bit, and from a palm router to a fixed base router. This is because it allows me to manage the depth of the cut a lot better. As for the jig itself, this one is even simpler. All it consists of is 3 pieces of plywood that I'm going to stick down to make a U shape. The router itself has a bushing guide on the bottom, and this will follow the outside curve. It'll also allow me to come into the middle portions to make sure I can hog out all the material that I need. As always, I'm not going to go to full depth straight away on the first pass. I'm going to take multiple passes building up to that final depth so I have a nice, crisp, clean finish again. And those nice shallow passes mean that the finish is beautifully smooth. A little bit of light sanding just to knock down the edges, so when you slip your fingers underneath, it feels nice and comfortable. Now halfway through this project, my clients come at me with a slight change of plan, a switcheroonie if you like, and that allows me to show you a bonus third jig. This nice simple jig allows me to put rubber feet on the corner of all my chopping boards or sink boards in exactly the same place without measuring. This little bit of plywood saves me so much time because I don't have to measure. The two positive stops at 90 degrees allow me to just slide it into the corner, right into place before drilling down and doing my pilot hole. It's for tasks like these that I developed all the jigs that I've got. They're there for nothing more than saving time, because the quicker I can rattle through a project, the quicker I can get on with the next one. And with the holes drilled, it's time to put the feet on, one in each corner and a couple around where the tap cutout is. This will ensure that there's no noise as this is put down or lifted up. So as we get to the end of this project, I'm absolutely amazed yet again by the results. Using jigs just makes cuts so much easier, so much cleaner. And I don't want you to think that this is limited to just using them as a one-off for a project. Let's take a look at this wall behind me. And you can see that these jigs become so repeatable. I've got a straight edge jig. I've got a pocket hole jig. I've got a track saw jig, a planer jig, circle jigs. The list just goes on, and it really does become such an easy process that once you've made the jig, you can do the same task time and time again. So I hope you've been able to take something from this video today. Simple things like jigs make tasks easier, make you more accurate, and your woodworking to an all-round higher standard. If you've enjoyed this video today, consider hitting that like button for me. It really helps me out, and hopefully you'll have a good time in your workshop, and I'll see you on the next build.